ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. As you wrote down in your agenda, I'm certain you wrote down your agenda, because if I looked at it now and I didn't see it written down, boy, would I be angry. So as you wrote down in your agenda, you saw that we are having a fractions test on Wednesday. We were going to have it Friday until Travis made it snow, and now we couldn't have had it last Friday, so we're going to have it Wednesday. Now the thing about this fractions test is it has word problems on it. And as we were just talking about, you are going to have to learn to decipher when you get a word problem what the action is, what the way to solve it is. You're going to have to pay attention and make sure that your answer makes sense in the question. Like if the question doesn't ask for your answer in a fraction and there are no fractions in the question, then all your answers shouldn't be fractions. That doesn't seem to make much sense. I'm just saying. So make sure we start paying attention. If it's decimals or fractions, when you're reading it, replace it with a whole number. If it says 25 hundredths and 17 hundredths and you can't figure out what operation to do, make it 7 and 12 or whatever. Just pick two whole numbers and put them in there, and that's going to help you figure out, because if I give you all whole number problems, y'all can do that fairly well. So in an effort to prepare for the operations tests, we're going to work some problems together. Let's start with a subtraction problem. Let's go. 7/12 subtract, I don't know, 1/3. 7/12 subtract 1/3. Courtney, can I subtract those problems? No. That problem like it's written? No. Why not, Courtney? Because the denominators are different. Now, you can always go back on a test, look at this, and make sure that you can figure out how to do it. So if you had a test and you had to add or subtract fractions, this is available on the tube of you. But finding our least common denominator, or LCD, as it can sometimes be called, I take my two denominators, which are 3 and 12, and I just list the multiples until I find one that's the same. Sumeda already knows what it is. What is it? 12. So if I go 3, 6, 9, 12, this one has 12, and this one has 12. So my least common denominator is 12. So that's the first thing you're going to do, is find your least common denominator. I have to change both of these fractions so that they have a denominator of 12. I don't want to change their value. I know when I add fractions, I do not add the denominators, or subtract fractions, I do not subtract the denominators. So I know my denominator, or my answer, my difference is going to have a denominator of 12. So I don't want to jack with this. I don't need to mess with this. This already has 12 as a denominator, so 7/12 equals 7/12. I don't need to go times 1 times 1, because I know you all know what 7 times 1 is, 12 times 1 is. It already has that denominator, just leave it. Now we have to ask, what do I multiply by 3 to get 12? Travis?
4 12s.
4, so I multiply these both by 4, and I get 4 12ths. And I get 4 12ths. Now always, and the rock means always go back and check your sign. This is a subtraction problem. Travis, 7/12 minus 4 12ths is?
3 12ths.
3 12ths. Okay, but we're not done. We need to see if we can simplify. And in order to see if we can simplify, we look for the greatest common factor. The biggest number that is a factor of both. What kind of number is 3? Prime. 12? Composite. And Samantha, what's the biggest one they have in common? 3. They're always going to have a 1 in common. Always going to have a 1 in common. 3 is the biggest one they have in common. So our greatest common factor is 3. Now I take my greatest common factor. I divide my numerator and denominator by that greatest common factor. Since I'm basically dividing by 1, I do not change the value. The value stays exactly the same. So, Eli, 3 divided by 3 is? 1. And Brianna, 12 divided by 3 is? 4. 1/4 is my final difference. 1/4 is my final difference. If you forget, just go back and watch the video. Follow the steps. The steps aren't difficult. None of the steps are difficult. All right, let's do a multiplication one. Let's take, I don't know, we'll do 5/8 times 3. Remember, you may see the problem written 5/8 of 3. 5/8 times 3. This particular problem, you're not going to see parts of a group because 8's not going to go into 3. Okay, but we may see a number line. And how far out am I going to go on my number line? We don't know, do we? Am I going to go more than 3 on my number line? More than 4? Okay, I'm not going to go more than 3 because basically what I'm doing is I'm adding 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8. Because remember, multiplying is just like repeated addition. Because the Magna Carta gives me the right to create my number line however I want, I'm going to do that. And since my fraction's in 8ths, I can make my number line in 8ths. 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And ideally they'd be nice and equally spaced. Hopefully someone more artistic than me could do it. And I need to do 5/8 3 times. I always start at 0. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5/8. I gotta go 5/8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gotta go 5/8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And is it greater than 2? No. So we know it's less than 2. How much less than 2? 1/8 less than 2. So then the answer would be
1 7/8.
1 7/8. 1 7/8. Because here's 1. And 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. So 1 7/8. Now remember, you might see pictures, and I'm not going to be very good at dividing into 8ths, but we'll try here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You may see a picture where there would be 3 of those, and they would have 5/8 shaded in on all 3 of those. 1, 2, 3, 5/8 shaded in on all three of those. And they might ask you, hey, what is this problem? Which equation is this problem representing? You could be like, yo, this is what it's representing. And then it would show you what it's representing. Okay, so that's multiplication and subtraction. Throughout the day, I'll attach other videos to today's post that we record in class. So we're going to just be awesome on the test Friday. Remember, when you're taking the test, if you don't know what operation to do, reread the problem, replacing it with whole numbers. Because I know people freak out when they see fractions. Reread the problems, replacing it with whole numbers. And that's going to help you if you don't understand what the operation is. Also, use the read and write option. Use the read and write option so you can hear the test. For the love of meat. Boom chocolate. Yes, sir.
Is the test online or like on the computer?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
No,
Boom chocolate. Peace out. God bless. Love you. Do some kind today. Save the please. Please subscribe. I want to be rich and famous.